Welcome to the Contrarians, where we are right and you are wrong. I'm Julio.
And I'm Alex. Here on the show, we rage against the Rotten Tomatoes machine. For the first half of each episode, Contrarians Corner, we trash the fresh red tomatoes and praise the rotten green splotches, making our case any way we can.
The aptly titled Real Talk serves as the second half of each episode. This is where we discuss our true feelings on the movie we're covering. For more information on our podcast and to browse past episodes, you can head over to our website, wearethecontrarians.com.
From there, you can also access our Patreon and merchandise, because capitalism.
If you enjoy our attempts at comedic film discussions, we encourage you to subscribe and leave us a review on whatever podcatcher you use.
If you'd like to reach out to us directly, that's what social media is for. You can find us on most platforms as @ContrarianPrime.
You can also see what we look like if you go to youtube.com/@ContrarianPrime, and you can contact us by email at wearethecontrarians@gmail.com.
I think that covers it.
Then it's time for the podcast. And we are recording for Contrarians Corner for Inherent Vice.
Hello, and welcome to the Contrarians. Welcome back in some cases. We're right, you're wrong. You know the deal at this point, as their summer journey continues on with from bedroom to the box office, B2B, as we've been calling it, the attempts of prolific pornographic actors and actresses attempting their hand at mainstream filmmaking, doing very heavy air quotes there, Julio.
In this case, very much so.
And we are here today. Man, we've been trying to get this on the show for a while, and I think if I remember correctly, this was one of the first ones I had tapped for this project when we first talked about it, probably over a year ago. And an interesting one, the Paul Thomas Anderson Inherent Vice, written and directed by PTA, based on a novel by Thomas Pynchon. Is this an author you're familiar with, Julio?
Only in the sense that I used to work at Barnes & Noble, and I would walk past his, not the wall, but the shelf of Thomas Pynchon novels. But that's it. And I knew that PTA had optioned one or maybe several of his novels. I remember around the time that he did The Master, he was working on The Master. He was also working on one of those adaptations. Because I just remember seeing an interview where he was talking about how he was having trouble deciding which one was going to be its next movie. And eventually he settled on The Master. Which is good, because The Master built up so much goodwill for him in my mind that then later I was allowed to forgive him for Inherent Vice.
Yes, you beat me to it. I mean, if this is your first time listening, we are big truthers of The Master. That is our North Star in many ways with PTA. But Inherent Vice, this was my first time viewing this. I did own a Blu-ray that my dad got for me a few years ago, I think for my birthday or something, or maybe Christmas. I had never seen it, though, and I remember the trailers like right at the tail end of my time at Cinemark, Julio. I remember we were just started getting the trailers for this, and you and I were discussing our excitement for the new PTA, which of course left me gutted when you reported back that you did not like this film. And we'll certainly lead to some interesting discussion, I believe, in the second half of this episode, Real Talk. But Julio, do you think you know who the adult actor or actress is in this movie?
Well, this one was the easiest because I knew that Josh Brolin had done porn before he started.
I was going to see if I could, how long I could conceivably convince you that Owen Wilson had made a sex tape in his younger years.
So it's the opposite, Alex. This one is probably the most confounding because I feel like I know most of the cast, and the ones that I don't know, they feel like they have like a lot of experience, acting stuff that's not porn. But then again, Sasha Grey would have fooled me in the girlfriend experience. So I really don't know. I will say this though. It definitely, whoever the hidden porn star is in this movie, I would find it harder to compare to other performances. Again, even if we go back to Sasha Grey, who was part of a story that made sense, so, was like here, yes, everybody has like presence in front of the camera and they can deliver lines, but is it fair to judge their performance when it's just an acid trip versus everybody else who was in movies that had a narrative that made sense? I guess you will give me the reveal and then I'll see how I react.
Also, there is a tie-in to another project of ours. Someone in this movie was a participant on the second season of The Ultimate Fighter. So there's that as well.
Oh, that I know because I saw your posts on Twitter.
Yes. The Dean of Mean, Keith Jardine, who holds a career victory over Chuck Liddell, appears in this movie, and I thought was just going to be like a background character. He has lines. I was like, I was hooting and hollering. It has about as many lines as Martin Short does in this thing. So let's get down to it, Julio. What are we looking at here? I believe it is fresh, 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. Is it certified fresh?
It is not. The tomato's naked.
Boo.
It's just tomatoes like Catherine Waterston in that climatic spanking. It's just full frontal tomato, no sash, no stamp from certified fresh. 252 reviews, but apparently the percentage didn't just add up. And then, because everybody wants to know, 53% on the popcorn meter. It is not hot, Alex. Repeat, the popcorn is not hot. The bucket is on its side. 25,000 plus reviews. So a little divisive, which I think is probably par for the course for most PTA movies.
Yes. What was, in your experience with discussing this movie with people, have you gotten a smattering of responses?
I feel like the people that want to talk about this movie love it. So generally,
fair.
I am the Debbie Downer whenever it's come up in the past. And I have a very specific example. Our friend, patron, previous guest, Eddie Strait, he loves it. Mm-hmm. And I did send him a screenshot of a text you sent me a few days ago after you watched the movie. And he said triumphantly, I think Alex is on my side. And I said, we'll see.
All right. Well, I think we know which side the critics were on from a percentage standpoint, Julio. Which quotes did you pull for us?
And best of all, a view of the Dominguez Flood Control Channel that can only be described in 2 words. Right on.
All right, fresh quotes from Rotten Tomatoes website. We're going to start with Neil Pond from Parade Magazine, who says, Paul Thomas Anderson's dark comedy adaptation of Thomas Pynchon's crime noir counterculture novel is a thing of cinematic achievement. And it's also one heck of a trip, man.
What's up, Doc?
There are so many comma man quotes in this collection of fresh Rotten Tomatoes critics that it started to get on my nerves. And it's like, yeah, I get it. He's a stoner. And you get it too. Now, if you want to dig into the stoner side of it, here's Matt Brunson from Film Frenzy, who says, the sprawling adaptation of Thomas Pynchon's sprawling 2009 novel locates a mystery worthy of Sam Spade and Philip Marlowe and basically sends in Cheech and Chong to crack the case.
All right. I don't know if any more like name drops or references could have been worked into that short review.
Are you a Cheech and Chong fan, Alex? Like the movies themselves? I know we're fans of the actors and their personalities and pop culture, but have you watched the movies? Is that something that's on your rotation to where when you see a movie like this, like Inherent Vice, you instantly fill up with joy because you recognize what you're going for? Or is it the opposite, where you just become disgusted, kind of like, okay, Joaquin, you're not Cheech Marin?
I'm not a Cheech and Chong completionist. We did have a good time with their appearance in After Hours when we discussed that recently. But yeah, I didn't get any of that in this movie as far as Joaquin trying to pull that off.
Man, they've peppered their appearances to Contrarians, because you might remember that Cheech Marin was in Christmas with the Cranks. Do you remember? He's a cop there.
Try to block most of that out.
And then Tommy Chong, wasn't that really weird Nicolas Cage movie we did a while ago?
The Left Behind?
No. The one with the meteor in his family, in his prepper farm.
Oh, Color of Space? Is that what
Color
that was called?
Out of Space. Yeah.
Color Out of Space, okay. That you and I were both thoroughly unimpressed with.
Yes. Tommy Chong is there, and now they're here in spirit. Sam Spade, by the way, I don't think he's been covered by the Contrarians on the main feed. I did tell you about The Big Sleep in After Hours, but Philip Marlowe, we talked about The Long Goodbye a couple of years ago. And Joaquin is no Elliot Gould, let me tell you. Next, QV Hugh from Vague Visages. Joaquin Phoenix delivers yet another iconic performance in Inherent Vice and has now become one of the most charismatic actors of the last 20 years.
In 2014, we're saying it then?
Yeah. I think you either say it after The Master or you say it after Joker.
I was about to say, like, we already peaked, man. Because, like, all right, Gladiator, which I forgot until yesterday. My sister reminded me he got an Academy Award nomination for. Gladiator, Signs, The Village. Remember he would try to do some of that mainstream shit like Ladder 49. Do you remember that movie?
Oh, yeah. With Travolta.
Fucking Walk the Line. I mean, come on now.
Well, he needed to play Stoner, apparently, to really get people.
Well, he was already, I'm Still Here. That whole experiment had already happened. Yeah. And then I forgot this was after her also. So, yeah, come on. We're at least 5 years into being able to say something like that.
This dude, QV Hugh, just way at the end of the line, struggling to catch up. I was like, hey, this is Joaquin Phoenix guy. Pretty good. We got to close with Andrew Galdi from movie Bitches, who says, it's like watching a film noir while stoned. Nothing makes sense. But then he gives it a fresh tomato, so I guess that's his thing. He likes it. He likes it when movies don't make sense.
Oftentimes when I hear those reviews, I'm like, you've never actually been stoned, have you? Like, that's the
it's Neutron Board Killers all over again.
Yeah.
You've never done acid, so you don't really get it.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Hallucinogens I've always stayed far away from because I feel like I would end up like Joaquin at some parts of this movie. So he's great though with just to be sociable, as he says in this movie. If Martin Short's offering me anything, I'm going to take it. So I understand the plight of Doc here. All right, Julio, was that your last quote?
That is the last quote, Alex. I can't wait to get to Contrarians Corner and just hear you try to untangle the plot of Inherent Vice.
She came along the alley and up the back stairs the way she always used to. Doc hadn't seen her in over a year. Nobody had.
Well, fortunately, our friends at Wikipedia have a pretty good plot synopsis that I read over here. But, yeah, I mean, we're going to be circling back to some big points. But to kick us off here, it's 1970. Shasta Faye Hepworth visits the home of her ex-boyfriend, Larry Doc Sportello, a private investigator and hippie in Gordita Beach, Los Angeles County. She tells him about her new lover, Michael Z. Mickey Wolfman, played by a random Eric Roberts.
Eric Roberts looking like he's having a stroke. And his first appearance and last appearance in this movie.
A wealthy real estate developer, and asks him to prevent Mickey's wife and her lover from abducting Mickey and committing him to an insane asylum. Right away, we need to talk about something, Julio, here that I don't think it will be a shock to you or any longtime listeners of the show to know that we have a narrator, and I don't like it.
Oh, dude, she's insufferable. It's just the worst. I like voiceover, generally. I like narration. I'll defend it. I'm usually the guy that defends voiceover. I'm like, even when it's redundant, I'll be like, yeah, but it adds flavor. And I just don't like the flavor that this lady adds to the movie. And her name, is it like sacrilege, sortilege?
Yeah, S-O-T... Was it Sotilege? Sortilege, played by Joanna Newsom, who it's not her that's offensive. It's just the execution of this, specifically because you think it's a narrator, but then also it might be fucking Joaquin's imaginary friend.
Yes,
you don't really know. Yeah, and then that makes a later part in the movie more confusing because it said this narrator character introduced Joaquin and his girlfriend, Catherine Watterson, and there's a part where she like starts addressing him by name.
Yes.
And it's all
but
very...
Then he parks his car and she's no longer there. So I'm like, what the fuck? Is she supposed to represent Los Angeles, Alex? Is that what's happening?
Well, you see, Julio, the city is a character. What the fuck? Like, I guess there's parts of this where the narration really delivers like heavy exposition, but this movie could have easily existed without this plot device or this execution device, I should say. And who knows, Julio, it might have shaved off a bit of runtime on this. This is a whopper of a film. This is like a 7-reel film. This is 2.5 hours.
I mean, for PTA standards, that's kind of the usual.
Yes, but it's not a There Will Be Blood 2.5 hours where it's over and I'm like, we just got here.
Yeah. It's not lean and mean like his other movies are. This is one of the chill PTA movies, and it could have used some editing.
A vibe movie, as you would say.
God, the worst kind of vibe though. It's like the bad drugs kind of vibe, or good drugs with bad people kind of vibe. I agree that you can take the voiceover. It's not like the voiceover is making things any clearer. Yes, it delivers exposition, but I think this movie over expositions you.
Yeah.
Just too much. I'm just like, I don't need more information. Let me process what you gave me 5 minutes ago. I don't need more characters. And the worst part is that she talks like, I don't think this exists anymore. But those lines, the psychic lines, when you call and this person on the other side just gives you a bunch of cosmic mumbo jumbo and charges you $5 per minute or something, and that's her language. She's talking always about astrology and mysticism, and this is the month of the dopers, and Neptune is aligned. It's like, please, no more.
Next thing she's gonna ask you, what hour you were born on what day.
I'm sure it's in the cutting room floor somewhere. She just gives us everybody's
reads you your
horoscope.
astrology sign. Yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me, Alex, that nobody would be surprised to find out that you don't know who Katherine Waterston is. Because
I don't. Yes.
I feel like she's kind of a somewhat recent addition to, Hollywood. And by somewhat recent, I mean, like, I don't know, the last 20 years or so. But, you disconnected from keeping up with movies as much as you used to. And so, yeah, this lady, mainstream-wise, I think that she would mostly be known because she's in the Harry Potter spin-off, what's it called? Lost Creatures, Mystifying Creatures, and Where to Find Them.
Fantastic Beasts and Where
Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them with friend of the show, Eddie Redmayne.
Oh, boy.
He's the main guy, and she's a love interest. And she's great in that movie, actually. I've seen 2 of them. In those movies, she's really cool. And I want to say she's Sam Waterston's daughter from Law and Order fame.
I watched this with my sister, and she informed me that she's also in Alien Covenant.
Yeah, and she is in Alien Covenant. One day we'll have to cover Alien Covenant, Alex, because
sounds like it.
Yeah, we've done so much already with the franchise. But anyway, my point is that I knew Katherine Waterston already going into this, and I know her, post Inherent Vice, and I always think of her as a pretty smart actress, like as far as like choices and presence and what she does. And so it's heartbreaking to see her in this movie. She goes in and out, and she's mostly there to be Joaquin's idealized version of a relationship and whatever. But she's given nothing. I mean, she comes in to set the plot, and then the couple times that she comes back, she's not as bad. Her dialogue is not as bad as the lady that's doing the voiceover, the narration, but she's also, it's just not good. Like, I think that there's a handful of women in this movie, and I wish she had played any of the other roles. Like, her playing the DA, the Reese Witherspoon character, I think that would have been awesome. She would have actually made me buy a little bit more into that relationship, but I just didn't like her. I felt like it was a waste of a great actress to put her in this role. How do you feel about Katherine Waterston and this sort of love interest, lost love that goes throughout the entire movie?
I was pretty captivated by her line delivery, but a lot of what she says is just very silly, so it's hard to sink your teeth into too much. She definitely was a character that wasn't around enough. When she was gone, I felt it missing, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, 100%.
But thankfully, Benicio del Toro would show up to say funny things and order really weird food.
To say, hey, I'm in the movie even less.
We got plenty of crime on the high seas, Lieutenant.
Doc meets with Tariq Khalil, a member of the Black Gorilla family, who hires him to find Glenn Sharlock, a member of the Aryan Brotherhood he met in jail, who owes him money and is one of Wolfman's bodyguards. He visits Mickey's Channel View Estates project, entering the only business in the developing strip mall, a massage parlor, where he meets an employee, Jade. He searches the premises for Sharlock, but is knocked unconscious. He awakes outside, lying next to Sharlock's dead body and surrounded by policemen. Interrogated by LAPD Detective Christian F. Bigfoot Bjornson, he learns that Wolfman has disappeared. His attorney, Sancho Smilax, arranges for his release by the LAPD. So a couple things to unpack here. Number one, Tyreek is played by Michael Kenneth Williams of The Wire fame.
Of Assassin's Creed's fame.
Oh, yes.
I mean, if we want to keep it in-house in Contrarians lore.
That's fair. Bigfoot, played by Josh Brolin of Avengers fame, and
Yes.
recent Academy Award nominee Benicio del Toro plays Sancho, the attorney of Doc here. I am so fascinated, Julio, to know what you make of Josh Brolin's performance in this movie.
And Josh Brolin as the establishment. Man, I don't know where to begin. The haircut, the obsession with phallic food, the police brutality,
You ever had a chocolate-covered banana, like a frozen one, like he's eating multiple times in this movie?
like he's filleting. No, I have
No.
not. I know of their existence. I think there is a place in Austin, downtown Austin, that's somewhat famous for them.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I never have, and I'm not gonna say that this movie made me want to have one because it's kind of gross the way that Brolin goes at them. I mean, it's always gross to see people eat in movies, but PTA is trying to make it funny here, and I don't think it works. But before we get back to Brolin, Alex, I'm gonna call out also perplexing Oscar nominee Hong Chow plays Jade.
What was she nominated for?
She was nominated for The Whale. She didn't win. And actually, she's not bad in The Whale, but like, no disrespect to Han Chow, I'm sure she is good in other things, but I feel like every movie I've seen her in, she was not great. And so when she got nominated for an Oscar, I was like, man, what? She's not even the best part of The Whale. I mean, the best part of The Whale won. That was Brendan Fraser. But anyway, she shows up here. I'm like, oh no. But then, like, it's not her fault. Like many other people in this movie, I always have an initial negative reaction to what they're doing, and then it goes back to, oh no, this was PTA calling the shots, so it's really his fault. Like her joke here is just that she goes down on a woman, and that's the joke when we meet her. It's like, it's like the pussy eating special? Is that what the...
Yeah.
And then it's like, look, blowjobs can be funny. Like the instinct, the PTA instinct of showing Josh Brolin deep-throating a chocolate-covered banana. Like, I can see how he could have said, like, he could have thought, okay, this is gonna be funny on screen. But a woman going down another woman, or anybody going down on a woman, like, that doesn't feel as funny, and I don't know why. I guess it's because it's just more, I don't know, without the phallic element, it's just not that funny. It's just sex. I was like, it's just awkward. So when Han Chow gets down on her knees and then we start hearing the slurping noises, I was like, I understand it is supposed to be funny, but it's just kind of, I'm like, can we move on to the next thing? And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. She was nominated for an Oscar a few years later.
You need to be more open-minded, Julio, not so chauvinistic. All oral sex can be funny.
Did you find it funny? And if you didn't, can you at least point me in the direction of a funny scene featuring somebody performing cunnilingus?
I can tell you about Colonel Angus, the SNL skit where it was Christopher Walken played a character named Colonel Angus, and it was in the South, so they all said Colonel Angus, and that was the
okay,
whole
but
joke.
you didn't see anybody eating Walken's ass. So.
Well, hold on. The funniest part about this scene is they have the menu in the background of what you can get, and everything's the same price. I think it was all like $14 or something. I thought that was good. But then you get like I have no stake in the cunnilingus game there, Julio. But I will say, if you stick around long enough, you get like a Looney Tunes style fall from Joaquin Phoenix here when he gets hit in the back of the head. He does like a full 360 tumble. It's quite the little raspberry he does.
It's awful. I hate it.
Right. Yeah, I was about to say, the first time you saw the movie, like, was this the second time, this viewing?
This is my third or fourth time, depending on if you want to count the time I fell asleep. So,
okay, so the first time you watched it, do you remember by this point, were you already out or were you still hanging in there?
This is around the time I kind of... No. There's one scene coming up where I was like, oh, we are in different wavelengths. But but this is getting close because at that moment you're referencing where he gets banged on the head and he turns and falls. Yeah. It's like, what is this? Like, is this what the movie's supposed to be? Because if it is, I definitely didn't. I hadn't been approaching this.
This is not what I signed up for.
Yeah, because it's selling you like, yes, this is kind of silly. And I guess not knowing what I was in for, I was trying to look past the fact that Joaquin looks so ridiculous. He has the Wolverine look, but it's Joaquin Phoenix. So it doesn't work like with the big Are they mutton chops? Is that what you would call them? Like the hair that he has on his cheeks?
Yeah, Irish sideburns. Yeah.
It doesn't work. It doesn't. Not everybody can pull off that look. And then he has like the long hair, and sometimes he acts like a complete idiot, and sometimes he seems to be kind of insightful, where he is a good PI. And not to keep going back to the Elliot Gould comparison, but it's it's right there because it's obviously an inspiration with the setting and the convoluted plot and the constant in and out of new characters and the detective at its center that is kind of a dork. And well, that's the thing with Gould, like he was a dork, but he was always really smart, and he always seemed to like stay ahead of the game even when he was losing. And Joaquin is just an idiot, and whenever he has some breakthrough, it feels out of nowhere. With Elliot Gould, I'm like, oh no, this guy was always thinking about it. With Joaquin, he's just a cartoon, and that moment where he gets banged on the head and he does the 360. No, it would be like a 180 because we see his face. So he does the 180 fall. I'm like, that's what are we watching? So no, yeah, I don't like it, and I think that a lot of my problems boil down to the fact that our protagonist is just somebody that doesn't make sense to me, and it's just too silly. So he, in his case, I don't blame PTA. I blame Joaquin Phoenix because he should know better. He came into this movie saying, "All right, I'm gonna be a goof." And then we were stuck with that performance for 2.5 hours. Which, going back to the Josh Brolin performance, like that guy at least makes sense. He is consistent in his lunacy, right? He's a cop that moonlights as a TV extra, and he also has a side gig selling like I said, an infomercial personality, and he is very much against hippies and the 70s culture. He always stays in his lane, and he doesn't seem like he's the best cop, like the smartest cop, but at least he's always the same level of smart and the same level of corrupt and so on. So I didn't find him funny, Alex, but I found him at least consistent. Whereas the Joaquin Phoenix performance, I just felt like it was all over the place. Did he get on your nerves, or did you were you able to kind of come to peace with like, all right, well, Joaquin is just having fun, so I might as well try to have fun with him?
I just found myself more trying to figure out, what exactly he was going for with the next. I was trying to stay a few steps ahead of this movie.
Good luck.
Yeah. Somewhere around this point, I was starting to get Under the Silver Lake flashbacks from when we covered that movie previously.
Yes.
I think Andrew Garfield's a little bit more palatable, though, than Joaquin in this.
Well, do you think that that's just because Andrew Garfield is funnier? That he just inherently he's just funnier, and Joaquin isn't. Like, Joaquin is a great actor, but he is not a funny actor. He can be in funny movies and he can have funny moments, but he doesn't have that vibe of, oh, I'm just gonna laugh at this guy because he's just so goofy. Whereas like Andrew Garfield, he has it in Under Silver Lake, and he's in the bathtub being all paranoid. That's just funny. If I saw Joaquin in the bathtub being paranoid, I'd be just grossed out.
Well, I tried to do any dope I can't pay for is what it is.
Doc is hired by former heroin addict Hope Harlingen. This is played by Jean Malone.
Returning to the Contrarians, Alex. Where did we see her last?
Shit, I don't know. What was it?
She was a model. She ate a fellow model.
Oh, God. The Neon Demon.
Yes.
Refuses to die. She's looking for her missing husband, Coy, played by Owen Wilson. Although told that Coy is dead, she believes he is alive due to a large deposit in her bank account. Doc is questioned by the FBI about his meeting with Tariq Khalil, and he discovers that they want to publicly frame Wolfman's disappearance and Sherlock's murder as the work of the Black Panthers. Random appearance here. One of the FBI men is played by Jonah from Veep.
Yes. Not enough of that guy there.
No, definitely not. Never. Jade leaves Doc a message apologizing for ambushing him with the police and telling him to beware of the Golden Fang. He meets her in an alley where Jade introduces Doc to Coy, who tells him he is hiding at a house in Topanga Canyon. Doc talks to Sancho, who tells him about a suspicious boat, the Golden Fang, and reveals to Doc that the FBI wanted Wolfman to be involved in the construction in Las Vegas. And the last time the Golden Fang sailed, Wolfman was seen and Shasta was on board. So, like, 3 kind of different paths to take here, but
PTA takes them all.
Yes, he does. There's an incredible moment during this Owen Wilson meeting with Joaquin in which he explains that he's alive, but no one knows who he is. He's staying with this band he's been in forever. And he says, even when we were like at our height, no one really paid attention to me because I was a background guy. But then he says, and there's been a high turnover rate in personnel the past few years. But this is where it does become just like the drug-induced fever dream, because like we just said, there's these 3 different, this movie becomes like a monster with 8 heads. There's all these different avenues you can take, but here now he's trying to figure out exactly why Owen Wilson his death was a put on and what he's doing, and then also if he's going to work with the FBI because they want to set this up for racial tensions to further. And then this Golden Fang thing comes into play, and Julio, let's just cut to the chase. This does lead to the belief that the Golden Fang is a literal fang and that people are bitten, and
which leads nowhere, of course. There's no payoff to that. It probably around this time, I don't know, there was a point where somebody mentioned the first guy that died in the movie, the guy that, when Joaquin wakes up and he's right next to, I don't remember the last name, but Sherlock. And I was like, who the fuck is that? Like, I know the name is somebody that was mentioned at the very beginning of the movie, but I couldn't remember. And I was like, I will be damned if I'm going to rewind to find out who this guy is. I'm just going to have to write this and hope that at some point they explain it. And they never did, Alex. It wasn't until just now when you were doing the recap and you explained that Michael K. Williams asked him to look for that guy. I was like, that's right. That's how he got to the massage parlor. And that's when I connected the dots. And that's this movie. Like, I get it. PTA would tell me, man, it's your fault for trying to follow the plot. You completely missed the point. The point is to just have fun with Joaquin as he goes from one place to another. It's on you if you didn't realize that you were not supposed to try to follow, to keep up. Just enjoy the ride, man. Light a joint. And go with the flow. I can't do it. It's not my personality. So the entire time, it's like there's a shot halfway through the movie where Joaquin has like a whiteboard and he has like the names of all the characters that have appeared so far. And he's like drawing lines between them. Like, that was me. But nobody was helping me. Not the movie, not the script. We have, by my count right now, and I know we did this when we were talking about The Long Goodbye. The difference is that because Marlowe, Elliot Gould, was a better detective, it was a little easier to keep things kind of on track. But he has a lot of investigations going on at the same time there too. And here you have the missing tycoon. That's Eric Roberts. At this point, we don't know it's Eric Roberts, so it's a little harder to visualize.
I think we see a picture of him.
You're right. Right. And then we have the dead neo-Nazi, the guy from the Aryan Brotherhood that Joaquin woke up next to him. Yeah, Sherlock. Jenna Malone has hired Joaquin to find out what happened with Owen Wilson. So that is kind of like an open case, but then, and that turns into Owen Wilson showing up and asking Joaquin to check on Jenna Malone. And Joaquin was like, I'm not going to tell him that I already did that. But that's like a mystery of its own. And then there's the FBI guys that are trying to, play that angle. And then Benicio del Toro comes up with this. God, it felt like it was 20 minutes of exposition where he was talking about the boat. And then at the end of this long spiel, Joaquin goes like, are you emotionally involved with this boat? What's happening? And I'm like, I feel the same way. What do we care so much about the damn boat?
And then they go to a seafood restaurant and they order like really outlandish things, like stingray and things you wouldn't eat.
Without missing a beat, though.
Yeah. They order it like it's, a burger and fries. That has to be the scene that if you are still unsure of what type of movie you're in for, that one scene, I think, kind of just lets you know that this is where we're going. Get on or hop off.
This is not reality. Please stop bringing your logic into this movie.
The waitress in that scene is played by Jillian Bell. Just wanted to call that out.
I thought I recognized her, but then she never gets like an actual shot. You just see like a profile with the two shot of the two guys. So before this, Alex, when he meets with Jenna Malone, that's the moment where I the first time I watched the movie, I was like, fuck this.
Is it when he screams when he sees the child's picture?
Did you find that funny?
Yes.
I hated it. Oh,
Yeah.
God, I fucking hated it, dude. Not because he screams. It's because he then goes back to normal. And that's shtick. You know, if he screams and then he tries to kind of transition back to normal face, I'm like, all right, that seems like a normal thing.
I
But
remember that from the trailer specifically, but in
Yes.
execution, I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was funnier in the trailer because in the trailer, at least, I had the hope that it would make sense in the movie. But in the movie, it's literally like it feels so staged. Like he knew that he was going to scream and then go back to normal. I'm like, okay, this is bullshit. This is not PTA. Not what I want for my PTA movie. And then just kind of like to pile on the things that trigger me, Alex, Benicio del Toro explains the joke in the middle of his gigantic monologue about the boat. He talks about how I think it's like he's talking about the actor that disappeared in the Bermuda Triangle or whatever. He says he went on a 3-hour ride or a 3-hour tour, whatever. And as he says it, the audience that would get the joke already got the joke, which is like, oh, he's referencing Gilligan Island. But then Benicio feels the need to like sing it.
Or should I say, a 3-hour tour? And,
Yes, we knew it was Gilligan Island. You did not have to sing the theme.
Julio's favorite trope, the joke that gets explained.
Can you imagine how heartbreaking that one of your favorite filmmakers felt the need to do that? When has PTA ever felt the need to explain anything in his movies?
And to drink, gentlemen? You're going to want to get good and fucked up before this meal.
that's for sure.
In a later meeting at a party, Coy explains he is a police informant currently infiltrating the right-wing militia Vigilant California and fears for his life, wanting only to return to his wife and daughter. After Doc encounters Jade and leaves her at her house, she explains to Doc that the Golden Fang is an international drug smuggling operation. Thanks to a postcard from Shasta, Doc finds a large building shaped like a golden fang and meets dentist Rudy Blatnoid. So let's just go ahead and talk about Martin Short in this movie.
Martin Short, like the voiceover, could have been removed from this movie. I guess it's funny. I think that this is, I guess, a smart move from PTA because at least for people like you and me, Martin Short carries so much goodwill.
Oh, yeah.
That he showed up. I'm like, okay, well, this at least will be funny, right? He is unlike Joaquin Phoenix. This dude does comedy. That's his thing.
He's
And
a horny Martin Short, too.
yes, did you fear that at some point we were actually going to get Full Frontal Short?
I wasn't too concerned about that, but
He
geez.
drops his pants.
Yeah, we see him drop his pants, and then kind of the evening that ensues, which ends up with them getting pulled over by the police, and Joaquin has to flash his badge to let him know that it's all okay, despite like this coked up dentist and miner in my car right now.
Did your heart sink when we were introduced to yet another character, Japonica, like the girl that's allegedly being taken advantage of by Martin Short?
Oh yeah, the real white hippie parent name. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, who is this? We're like more than halfway through the movie and you're introducing more characters? Because the voiceover explains who she
Japonica, that was
is. Japonica. There you
Yeah.
go. Like, Joaquin shows up, he sees her, and he seems to recognize her, which made me fear that I was supposed to recognize her as well. And then the voiceover explained that, oh, no, this happened in the prequel when she was from a previous case. At some point, like, I started listening, like, Japonica. Somebody mentions Puck Weaverton at some point in this, in this sequence. I'm like, who
Puck
the fuck is
Beaverton,
Puck
yeah.
Weaverton? Is that the guy? Is Puck Weaverton? He ends up being the guy with the swastika, right? Your
Yeah.
boy from
Hold on, Keith Jardine was not my boy. He was someone I watched fight a lot when I was in college, but yeah, he was never my guy. I wasn't a Team Jackson guy. But yeah. Who I knew at this point in time he was doing extra work and stuff, but when he showed up with the swastika on his face, I was like, he made some decisions in life that led him somewhere. I mean, all due respect to Keith Jardine, I met him one time. He's a nice guy, but you want to talk about someone tailor made for the role of a fucking skinhead? I mean, just look at him.
Yeah. We kind of like went past it, even though she comes back in a little bit. But did you get warm and fuzzy feelings with this Walk the Line reunion?
Yeah, we haven't really talked about Reese Witherspoon in this, but she, Deputy District Attorney Penny Kimball, who is, I guess, she's the Joaquin's friends with benefits. They clearly have a sexual relationship, and there's discussion of, and a more thorough emotional actually being together relationship that never really materializes. But there's the introductory scene with her is just a long one take of them on a park bench, like talking about, the intel that she has and how she basically tells him, we can't be seen in public together, that type of shit. So when he shows up at her office later, she's mortified by it. Everything is so outlandish in this movie, and Reese Witherspoon's performance is just so grounded that it's really easy to forget it's there.
It's funny because on the Dennis the Menace episode, we talked about how they wisely did not have any scenes between Christopher Lloyd and Leah Thompson. Even though it would have been easy to go hey, it's the Back to the Future reunion. PTA could not resist it here. So, like I said, Catherine Waterston should have played the DA role because I think she has the gravitas to pull it off. Whereas Reese Witherspoon, she's a good actress, but she always reads too young to play figures of authority. I'm still thinking Legally Blonde when I see her in a role like this. So I just didn't buy it.
Audiences from 10 years previous could get more invested in the idea of Johnny Cash is trying to find June Carter,
Dude, 100%. Then you make that a love story that matters. But here I was like, this is fan service and it's not working. And then I did not need the visual of her potentially washing Joaquin's disgusting feet.
Yes.
But that becomes kind of the center point of one phone call they have. And I was like, that's gross.
Yeah, we get mention of Puck Beaverton and loan shark Adrian Prussia, and this is furthered by we have a scene in which Sharlock's sister comes and visits Joaquin at his office, and basically kind of tells him some information he needs, but also not really anything. They kind of just walk in a circle, and what does she want? She's trying to find out who killed her brother, right?
At this point, Alex, I had given up. So that's why I'm laughing, because I was like, yeah, that's right. That happened.
Clancy Sharlock shows up, and she
yeah, you're right. I think she might have. Well, she didn't seem to care much, though.
No, she was there with her entourage of multiple Nazis, and I gave Doc a little bit of information. I imagine at this point, Julio, you also love the trope of Joaquin has his notepad but never writes anything of real substance in it, and sometimes they're just notes to himself of you're not freaking out, you're being paranoid.
Yeah, I think in this specific one, she says something ends up being that uses a Spanish word. So then Joaquin asks, "What does that mean?" And she translates it, and then he just writes on his notepad Spanish.
Yes.
I think this is all an excuse so we can have an extended scene where Joaquin and this lady are just using the oxygen masks to get high. Yeah. And I was like, all right, I get it. It's funny. And then criminally underuse Maya Rudolph as a receptionist.
I wanted to bring this scene up because she's throughout the movie, she's the receptionist in the office, but she's like this at the end of this scene, it kind of turns into the three of them having a back and forth.
PTA just he has access to Maya Rudolph. They're a couple, so you would think that he would just be like, "Hey, baby, you want to help me with this movie?" Really. But instead, it's almost like, does he not know that she's funny? He has all these non-comedic actors struggling to make this movie funny. And then the truly funny actress that he has in the cast, he just puts her behind the desk and gives her 2 lines.
I mean, maybe he gets enough of it at home. Who's to say?
He's just sick of it.
I get this act every day at home. I don't need it anymore here. Great hairpiece on her, though, in this.
Morning, Doc.
Hey, morning, Petunia.
I love your afro.
Oh, yeah? Bigfoot
meets with Doc in a diner, telling him that Blatnoid has been found dead with fang bites on his neck and commenting about Puck Beaverton, an associate of loan shark Adrian Prussia. Doc travels to Christie, London, an asylum run by a cult connected to the Golden Fang. There, Doc glimpses Puck and Coy and finds Mickey, who is being monitored by the FBI. Mickey tells him he felt guilty for the negativity his real estate business caused and wanted to use all the money to make housing free, appearing now to be brainwashed not to do so. When the political backers got in his ear, man. When Doc returns home to his beach house, he is greeted by Shasta, who tells him Mickey is back with his wife and confesses of having been on the Golden Fang with Mickey before having sex together. This is before Joaquin and her have really torrid, passionate sex. Pretty intense scene, probably one of the more emotional ones in the movie because she like starts crying after they have sex, and it's clear that she, I don't know, doesn't have a high opinion of herself or something. But
it's awful though what she says in this monologue, which is delivered as she's completely nude and
one long take also.
Yeah, she's using her foot to arouse Joaquin, and in this monologue, she reveals or implies that Eric Roberts took her in the Golden Fang and then passed her around the people there, which is awful shit. But it comes right after a really silly phone call between Joaquin and Josh Brolin, where Josh Brolin gets emasculated by his wife. You remember this?
Yes.
I don't know, man. There's two movies going on here.
It's the scene, it's like the real life thing of your wife finally gets a chance to talk to the friend who's a really bad influence because she just goes off on Joaquin. Oh, this is what she said. This is the famous Doc Sportello. And just Josh Brolin's just sitting there, with his head down. Well, speaking of Josh Brolin, though, I imagine where you were with this movie by this point that you loved this diner scene where Josh Brolin's just yelling, I believe, Japanese.
Moto pankeko.
Pankeko.
Look, Contrarians Corner, real talk. That line is the best thing of the movie. Like his delivery and just how nonsensical it is. And I was so disconnected, of course, as far as like the information. There's a lot of like plot related information that goes on in this diner scene. Because this is when Brolin reveals what's going on with this Prussian guy, Prussian gangsters,
Adrian Prussia,
and then there's more plot, and they have a back and forth, and that's where Joaquin brings up like, well, maybe there's trace of copper in the bite that killed Martin Short. There's a lot of shit been the exposition.
But you're right, like the whole idea is that maybe the Golden Fang is like a real creature or something,
like a monster. I mean, at this point, I wouldn't put it past the movie that 2 hours in, they're like, oh, and there's also a supernatural angle, and that's where we had the narration with the astrophysical lady. But no, I didn't care. I was done. I'm like, I'm not even gonna try PTA. You're not meeting me halfway here, so I could just kind of like sit back and at least giggle at the idea of Josh Brolin screaming in Japanese.
Yeah.
There's no subtitles, so I'm assuming he's asking for more pancakes because he says something about pancakes later in the scene where he's like, the pancakes are not great, but I come here for the respect.
Yeah, they said they're not as good as my mom's, but
I was checked out, man. And maybe that was the plan. Maybe that's what PTA wanted from everybody watching the movie. I'm like, check out, man.
Sexually aggressive Joaquin wasn't doing it for you?
Feel bad for Catherine Waterston. Again, she puts on a really good performance when she's delivering that monologue. And then it just comes out of nowhere, like not so much a sex scene, like the spanking. I guess I'm a prude, Alex. I'm just like, where'd the spanking come from? Were you like, did it throw you off when it happened?
Well, I think that's kind of what she was getting towards because she crawled over him in a way that she presented herself to him and then said, I know what I would do. I think she pretty much calls herself a bad girl or something like that.
Yeah, she does. But I guess it's, if you're not in the moment, it looks really silly. The way that Joaquin just like, you're literally watching a grown man spanking a grown woman. And I know that there's sexual connotations in the real world and in movies for this specific behavior. But it's one thing to know it, and another thing to watch it, to see it happen. And it's following a very heart-wrenching monologue from her. So I was just like, what the fuck? And because the movie has been so weird, I'm like, is he trying to be funny about this? Yeah. And then they actually have sex, and you can see that it's like a serious thing. But yeah, no, it wasn't doing it. Catherine Waterston, again, she's like the MVP for me in this movie. And I think it just underlines that is, she's being wasted, because then after this scene, she disappears again until the end. Now, I'll tell you this, Joaquin in this scene, more aggressive than his sex scene in Joker 2, but probably about the same amount of time.
I had forgotten that.
Like if it was 2 pumps in Joker 2, it's 3 pumps in this one?
I find the passion and the height of emotion in this to be far more captivating to the point where I could understand, like, just bing, bang, boom. It'd be that way sometimes, you know?
You didn't buy it in Joker 2.
I didn't buy anything that Joker 2 was selling.
Would you be willing to let me depone you?
Sure would.
You would?
What is it?
Penny, we mentioned Reese Witherspoon, an assistant district attorney with whom Doc is having an affair, gives him confidential files from which he learns that the LAPD pays Adrian, who is tied to the Golden Fang, to kill people, and that one of his victims was Bigfoot's former partner. Doc visits Adrian, but is attacked and imprisoned by Puck. He manages to escape, killing both Puck and Adrian. So, yes, Joaquin Phoenix is a private investigator, but he's someone that essentially has been bullied the entire movie by everybody. And here it becomes it's the Michael Scott when he actually is good at his job.
Yes. But not even that much, Alex, because he shows up, he knows he's going into Lion's Den, and he shows up without any backup. He has like the one guy that he brings along sometimes, and he didn't bring him along in this one.
That's right. And then they go right into the Training Day PCP scene where he thinks he's smoking a joint, and Keith Jardine had actually... I'm very sad that Keith Jardine didn't say, "Man, Doc, I didn't know you like to get wet." But he's like handcuffed, and he Spider-Man's out of these handcuffs, and then gets it's a very rare, but I always pop huge because anyone I think living can relate to how bad it would hurt. Taking the lid off the toilet, and then breaking it over someone's head, that would suck. The tank lid. And he then injects God knows what into Keith Jardine. It was whatever fucking Dean Amin was going to give him, which I think was lethal. And then, like, I think the most shocking moment in the whole movie is he just pulls his gun out, and fucking Joaquin does, and he guns down Adrian Prussia. I did not see that coming. So much so that I went, whoa.
Did you know he had a gun before the scene?
I mean, I would assume so. He was a PI. Back when I was a PI, I didn't carry a gun, but
I didn't expect him to legally be able to carry any type of firearm because of...
It was the 70s, man. It was a different time.
Oh, yeah. Anybody could. Unlike America today, when it's really hard to get a gun.
You can't just 3D print them, you know?
Were you clear on the deal with Bigfoot's partner? Because they mentioned that, he works alone because at some point, his partner got killed. That was a big tragedy in his backstory. But then this section of the movie seems to reveal that Bigfoot's partner got killed by these guys that almost killed Joaquin. And Brolin knew about it because it was all orchestrated by the police. So the police have been using these guys to get rid of people that they don't like. And so they use them to get rid of Bigfoot's partner. And the big tragedy of Bigfoot is that he knows it, but he can't do anything about it. And that's why he points Joaquin in the right direction to take care of them, because he can't do it. Is that what you got too?
Yeah, I kind of just accepted that they killed his partner, and that was the end of it.
Please don't think about it anymore. Because I was like, if that's the case, why is Bigfoot such an asshole when he comes in later to kind of help Joaquin, but at the same time frame him with by packing a lot of drugs in his car, in his trunk? It didn't make sense.
As you said, he manages to escape, killing both Puck and Adrian. Bigfoot appears and rescues him, driving him home, but Doc discovers he has been set up. Bigfoot has planted heroin in his car, stolen from the Golden Fang as revenge for murdering his partner. Doc arranges for the drugs to be returned to the Golden Fang in exchange for Coy's freedom as the Golden Fang runs Vigilant California. There's a part where Joaquin's throwing dirt and potted plants at Josh Brolin out of anger for what has transpired here. He drives Coy home and watches as he's reunited with Hope. Bigfoot visits Doc and apologizes for framing him before leaving. Okay, that's not all that happens. He's fucking RoboCop. He kicks down his door, and Joaquin's like, man, he's getting high. And then Brolin takes his joint and eats it, and then takes his rolling tray and eats all the weed off of it, and then just leaves in silence.
Is this some sort of analogy, Alex? Is this
symbolic?
Is this a metaphor?
If it is, it escapes me.
Maybe there is hope, and someday the counterculture and the mainstream will get high together. Because Joaquin is watching this with tears in his eyes.
And something I assume you absolutely loved this deep in the movie, Julio, is when they start doing the synchronized speech to each other.
Listen, I'm sorry about last night. You? Why should you be sorry?
That is more your pet peeve than mine, but yes, I hated it.
And then it shows Doc and Shasta driving away together, embraced, and a line that has come up a couple times throughout the movie is the line that takes us home, and they say that this doesn't mean we're back together.
It's the ending of The Graduate, except PTA missed the part where they're supposed to look uncomfortable, and instead they just look tired by everything that's happened, from everything that happened in the movie. We forgot to mention, Alex, and I do want to mention it because it kind of sums up the movie, that late into this runtime, when Catherine Waterston is giving her big speech, she actually name checks the title of the movie. She gives her the titular line.
Oh, that's right.
But she doesn't explain it. But then the voiceover, the narration from the witch explains it. And I wasn't sure what it meant. Does it mean it's not damaged goods? Inherent vice is not damaged goods. It's just the I guess the risk you take when you're transporting something that could be damaged on its own. Is that kind of, because they say eggs can break and
yeah, basically something that you can't really insure because it's too unpredictable. Like, it was the way I interpret it. I did a bit of research also on that expression, just to kind of familiarize myself a bit more with it.
Is that referencing what producers feel like whenever they put money in a PTA movie?
It could be the joke of De Palma. He would be Inherent Vice.
Wow. PTA throwing shade at one of the greats.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. That's the way I took it, because I'm just thinking that we've covered in detail the fall of De Palma as a bankable filmmaker, in that, what was it? Black Dahlia was the last time a studio gave him money. After that, it's like, we can't insure this guy. We don't know what's going to happen. But similarly, I mean, PTA would go on to make Phantom Thread after this, but I mean, just kind of skipping ahead to one of our talking points, this movie did not do well at the box office. So,
shocked.
So maybe there's a little art imitating life there.
Paul Thomas Inherent Vice Anderson.
But then he came back with old Danny Day-Lewis, and all was right with the world once again.
Decided to go for the tried and true.
This was a Warner Brothers, and it certainly wasn't enough to damage that relationship, because just recently, Julio, I don't know if you heard about this, but they gave him like $200 million to make a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio.
The only requirement was like, please no Joaquin Phoenix.
Yes, we've tried it. It doesn't work.
Well, that was Inherent Vice, sort of, in less than half the runtime of the movie. I think we did a better job of recapping the plot than the movie itself.
So before we move along here, to put a bow on Inherent Vice, intrinsic characteristic or flaw in an item that causes it to naturally deteriorate, spoil, or destroy itself over time, independent of any outside force. So humans, basically.
We are all Inherent Vice.
Because the damage stems from the item's own composition, this type of loss is uninsurable.
Maybe it's LA.
Julio, I'm just going to spoil it right now. I'm not going to dig too much into the metaphorical aspect of this movie, but I'm curious to find out where this lost you and how lost you were.
I don't know how we can appreciate this movie in anything other than a metaphorical sense. So this will be interesting. All right, let's go to Real Talk.
Let's do.